The ones in the dark. The screaming had stopped 10 minutes ago. Captain Rika Ansel crouched behind a support beam inside the wrecked hangar of Outpost Thales 7, her rifle trembling in sweat-slicked hands. Somewhere beyond the twisted metal and smoke, the Velari moved, silent, unseen, patient. Her comms buzzed with static. No contact. No orders. No survivors on the other end. Just her. And Mira, her daughter, huddled in the storage crate beside her, barely breathing. "Don't move," Rika whispered, her voice cracking under the weight of fear. No sound. The child nodded, too scared to cry. Rika wanted to hold her, but she couldn't afford comfort. Not now. Not when the enemy could wear your face, mimic your voice, and peel your memories from the inside out. That's what they did. That's what made the Velari a nightmare. Not their claws. Not their tech. Their silence. They didn't come in ships. They didn't announce wars. They simply arrived. A missing scout. An unresponsive base. A transmission filled with echoes. Then nothing. Not even corpses. Just absence. Rika's eyes scanned the dark. Her helmet's motion tracker had gone blind. Scrambled by the electromagnetic static the Velari exuded like a second skin. The only thing she trusted now was instinct, honed over 2 decades of deployments. A whisper, barely audible. Metal creaked behind her. She whirled around. Nothing. She blinked. Then Mira was gone. The crate was empty. No sound. No struggle. Only a faint, fading warmth where her daughter had been. "No!" Rika dropped her weapon and stumbled forward. "Mira!" A shape moved across the far wall. Humanoid. Too tall. Its limbs elongated, like it hadn't finished deciding on a form. It turned its face toward her. Her own face stared back. A cold shudder crawled down her spine. She fired, screaming, cursing, emptying the clip until her rifle overheated. The mimic staggered, collapsed. Then, like smoke, it dissolved. Not blood. Not flesh. Just fading light. They were toying with her now. She never saw the blast that threw her backward. Just light. Heat. Silence. She woke in a medical bed. Weeks later. On Earth. What was left of it? Her wounds had healed, mostly. Her nightmares hadn't. The doctors called her lucky. The military called her the last survivor of Thales 7. Rika called herself a failure. And then they showed her the footage. From a black box drone that had survived the attack, barely. Mira, her daughter, being led away, gently, by something that wore her mother's voice. Her smile. A creature with Rika's face, holding her child's hand. That was the moment something inside Rika died. And something else was born. 10 years later, she stood aboard the ESS Vengeance, wearing armor laced with synthetic bone and alien carapace. She was no longer just a captain. She was Commander Ansel of Ghostfire Squad, Earth's first anti-Velari Special Operations Unit. They had spent a decade dissecting every piece of recovered Velari biotech, understanding how they moved, hunted, communicated. They had no language, but they remembered what they consumed. Memory was currency to them. Identity was a meal. Humanity's answer? Turn memories into weapons. Ghostfire operatives carried neural minds, echo disruptors, and viral pheromones engineered to overload Velari senses. But no tech matched the fury of someone who had nothing left to lose. Operation Spearfall was green-lit. A direct strike on Velari territory. Not for conquest. Not for diplomacy. For revenge. As the fleet left Earth orbit, Rika stood at the command deck, staring into the stars. She knew they were watching from out there, always had been. "You took my world," she whispered. "Now I'm taking yours." Lights dimmed. Engines flared. And for the first time in recorded history, humanity invaded them. Into the nest. The rogue planet Charon 6 had no sun. It drifted silently between stars, bathed in eternal night. Long-range sensors couldn't penetrate its surface. Radio signals warped and died. No satellite survived more than an hour in its orbit. It was, by all definitions, a dead world. But Rika Ansel knew better. She stood in the belly of a drop shuttle, armored head to toe, watching the surface of the Velari nest world grow larger in the viewport. Her team, Ghostfire Squad, sat around her in tense silence. 10 soldiers, each trained to kill what had once hunted them through space like prey. 30 seconds to ground, the pilot barked. No surface readings. Expect null sensors and contact immediately. Copy, Rika replied, her voice steady. Her fingers tapped against the hilt of her sidearm, not from nerves, but precision. She wasn't afraid anymore. The shuttle pierced the cloud layer. Below lay a jagged expanse of bone-white terrain, like a graveyard made of skyscrapers. Massive spires of fossilized Velari biomass rose from cracked tundra, each one pulsing faintly with red biolight. The ground seemed to breathe. This was no ordinary planet. It was a living tomb. The shuttle touched down with a hiss of pressure valves and the hiss of ancient snow vaporizing beneath the engines. Ghostfire deployed fast, motion triggers on, cloaks up, rifles scanning the darkness. The air was heavy with particulate matter, spores or ash, no one could tell. Axel, the squad's AI hound in a humanoid exoform, moved beside Rika. His voice crackled with distortion. Local time irrelevant. No solar rotation. No magnetic poles. This world is not built for physics, it's built for fear. Rika didn't respond. Her eyes were fixed on the massive tunnel before them, an orifice carved into the ground, lined with ribbed, organic material like a throat. This was their entry point. And there was no turning back. The team descended slowly. Lights on their suits revealed shifting walls of bone and sinew. Every step deeper into the hive felt like entering a lung that no longer breathed. Then it changed. The walls flickered, flashed with color, brief pulses of light that resembled neural activity. Movement, whispered Doss, the squad's second in command. Rear flank. No visual. Rika raised a fist. The squad stopped cold. Something shifted in the corridor ahead. A figure, human in shape, stepped into the dim light. They all raised weapons. It looked like a man, wearing Earth military gear. Blood on the chest. Eyes wide with terror. Don't shoot. Please, I'm Corporal Mathis. I'm from Colony Vega, 4. I was captured, escaped, please. Rika stared at him. He hadn't blinked once. She stepped forward slowly. What's your daughter's name? What? The man hesitated. I don't have one. Wrong answer. She fired a single round through its skull. The body hit the ground, twitched, and dissolved into black vapor. Confirmed mimic, Doss said grimly. They're testing us. They always do, Rika murmured. They probe memory. They dig into familiarity. If they know our names, our emotions, they think they own us. Then we don't give them anything, Axel added, scanning the remains. But they're not just mimicking anymore. This DNA, it's recent. Alive. The realization hit like a gut punch. They've been breeding, Rika muttered. No, Axel corrected. They've been merging. Evolving. Rika's mind flashed back to Thales, 7. To Mira. To the creature that wore her daughter's face. Suddenly, it wasn't just about revenge. It was about extinction, either theirs or ours. The corridor widened into a vast chamber, the cerebral spine, the Velari's nerve center. Towering conduits of pulsating light snaked upward like vertical rivers of thought. Biological data streamed between them, memories, perhaps. Language. Commands. In the center was a cocoon. A massive, translucent egg. And inside, floating in a fluid stasis, was a creature with human limbs and a Velari carapace. Female. Child-sized. Rika's heart seized. Mira. The moment broke. The cocoon shuddered. And a voice echoed, not aloud, but directly into their minds. We remember you. We are you. We want to come home. Doss raised his rifle. Commander, orders. Rika lowered her weapon slowly, pain etched into every feature. We came to kill monsters, she said. Looks like they're trying to make more of us. She turned to the team. Plant the charges. We're not done yet. But we're close. Outside, deep in the hive, something ancient stirred. The Apex was waking, and it knew their names. Apex Protocol. Rika had seen death before. She'd seen comrades torn apart by artillery, consumed by fire, sucked into the vacuum of space. But she had never seen death evolve. The cocoon, massive, translucent, warm with artificial amniotic fluid, was empty now. What had been inside had hatched. And somewhere in the hive, it was moving. The creature had taken Myra's shape. Only taller, sharper, crueler. As if it had studied humanity just long enough to forget how to be human. Status, Rika snapped, spinning on her heel as alarms chimed in her HUD. Charge 1 planted, Doss replied, sweat visible on his brow. Charge 2 malfunctioning, biofilament interference in the structure. Axel's voice buzzed through the squad's channel. Confirmed, the neural spine is reacting. Data clusters are rerouting. We're inside something's brain, and it knows we're here. The chamber throbbed with a low, rhythmic pulse, like a heartbeat through flesh. Walls twitched. The ground beneath them vibrated as if the planet itself was exhaling. Then came the roar. It wasn't a sound, it was a signal. Every Ghostfire operative staggered as a wave of psychic feedback tore through their comms. Rika fell to one knee, gritting her teeth. A shape emerged in the upper arch of the chamber, huge, regal, flowing with unnatural grace. The Apex Velari. It was beautiful, in a way that only something designed to terrify could be. Its limbs were jointed in 5 places, its body cloaked in shifting armor made from the memories of consumed species. Human faces flickered across its skin like ghosts in a storm. It spoke without words, its thoughts bleeding into the minds of all who looked upon it. We consumed you to know you. We knew you to become you. Now, we replace you. Fire! Rika shouted. The squad unleashed hell, plasma bolts, kinetic rounds, echo disruptors, every round aimed at the beast. The Apex didn't move to dodge. It absorbed. It learned. Then it struck. A single motion sent Sergeant Vale flying across the chamber, his armor caving in as if crushed by a giant's hand. 2 more squadmates fell seconds later, their minds flooded with false memories. One died laughing. The other wept for a mother she never had. Doss screamed, "We're getting torn apart out here." "No," Rika said, teeth clenched. "This is what we came for." She reached to her belt, pulling out a fist-sized device blinking with blue light. The Apex Protocol. It wasn't a bomb. It was worse. It was a viral AI, coded from stolen Velari genetics, seeded with human trauma. Designed to crash their neural hive and infect their shared consciousness with one thing the Velari couldn't comprehend. Guilt. Axel. Interface. Now. The android sprinted across the battlefield, avoiding blows that twisted steel like paper. The Apex shrieked, a psychic shrill that made blood run from Rika's nose. Axel reached the central nerve cluster. He looked back at Rika, his voice calm. "I remember your daughter." Rika's breath caught. She smiled when she sang. Off-key. But she sang anyway. The Apex roared again. Upload initiated. A surge of white-blue energy erupted from the central cluster. The Velari screamed, not aloud, but in the walls, the floor, the air. Axel burned alive in the data flow. His body dissolved, piece by piece, smoke, bone, memory. And with it, the neural spine cracked. The chamber collapsed. Rika was thrown clear, tumbling through biotunnels slick with collapsing wet tissue. Doss caught her, half-limp, both of them rolling down an exit shaft toward the exfiltration point. Behind them, the hive began dying. Not burning. Not imploding. But forgetting. They barely made it to the surface before the shuttle arrived, one of Earth's orbiting carriers dropping low enough to grab them mid-run. Inside the med bay, Rika stared down at her trembling hands. The Apex was gone. The Velari homeworld was a hive without a queen. But it wasn't over. Later, in orbit, she stood before the War Council, a cracked data core from the planet in her hand. "This isn't victory," she said. "It's vulnerability. We saw how close they came to becoming us. And what happens when they try again?" The Council nodded, and gave her command of a new directive. The Revenant Corps. An elite task force that would no longer wait for the Velari to come. They would go to them. One by one. Hive by hive. Humanity was no longer afraid. The hunters had returned. And this time, they remembered everything. The last hive. The stars had gone quiet. For 6 months, not a single Velari signal echoed across known space. Their nests on Argo, 17, Phobos Outpost, and the Theta Cradle had been burned out, purged by the Revenant Corps. And yet Commander Rika Ansel knew, it wasn't over. The apex may have fallen on Charon 6, but that world was just a node in something larger, an ancient network of memory and consumption stretching beyond mapped space. Now, they had found its heart. Virelis. A rogue moon hidden in the event shadow of a collapsed binary star. Shielded by a natural gravity well and cloaked in interference, Virelis wasn't just a hive. It was their origin. Rika stood aboard the ESS Vengeance, clad in her Mark 7 armor, nerve-linked to every heartbeat, every breath. Her scars had faded. Her rage had not. Across the bay, a new generation of revenants prepped for deployment. Some were human. Others were cybernetic. A few had Velari tissue bonded into their flesh, willingly. A risk they all took to better hunt what had once hunted them. They no longer saw it as a mission. It was an exorcism. 30 seconds to insertion, the pilot called. Rika looked at the holomap. Virelis pulsed faintly, its surface organic, writhing, malformed. Lock drops. Full armor seal. Mental dampeners on. No memories above level 2, she ordered. No dreams. No names. Doss, her second in command, gave a grim nod. They feed on identity. We go in with none. As the drop pods launched, Rika took one last breath. This ends today. Virelis was like nothing she'd seen. The ground breathed like skin. Trees, if they could be called that, grew in spirals, each one sprouting faces, limbs, and fragments of extinct species. The air shimmered with static consciousness. Voices whispered in foreign tongues and long-dead Earth dialects. They were inside memory. I'm seeing things, one soldier whispered. Don't believe any of it, Rika barked. But even she struggled to look away. The world was showing her mirror, over and over. Laughing. Crying. Running toward her. Her voice. Mom. Rika closed her eyes and activated the echo wipe. Pain stabbed her skull as her short-term memory purged. The image faded. The others did the same. Any memory they didn't own, they erased. It was the only way to survive here. Ahead stood the core spire, a mountain-sized structure of tangled bone, neural cords, and crystalline nerves. This was no command center. It was a being. And it was waiting. Inside, they moved like blood through veins, slow, tense, ready. Then the walls changed. The Velari didn't attack. They invited. One by one, illusions peeled from the shadows. Dead comrades. Lost families. Alternate versions of the revenants themselves. Why do you kill us? Asked a mimic of Rika's own voice. We only took what you threw away. Pain. Anger. Grief. Rika raised her rifle. You stole lives. Now we end yours. The apex voice returned, only this time, fragmented across hundreds of bodies that slithered from the walls. Velari hybrids. Twisted mockeries of humanity. Soldiers from Earth's past, reanimated, fused with hive flesh. This was their defense, not technology. Regret. Fire at will, Rika ordered. Hell followed. The revenants burned through nightmare after nightmare. Every bullet shredded falsehood. Every grenade severed a shared dream. Doss went down screaming, lost to a creature that wore his brother's face. Others followed. But Rika pressed forward, alone, until she reached the throne. There, seated in a biomechanical cradle, was the prime node, a stillborn apex. It looked like Mira. But this time, Rika didn't hesitate. She placed the Omega core in its lap, a final echo bomb designed to destroy the Velari's entire cognitive lattice across galaxies. It spoke once, quiet, almost innocent. Mother. No, Rika whispered, and pressed the trigger. From orbit, Virelis imploded, not with light, but with forgetting. The Velari didn't die with screams. They vanished in silence, as if they had never been. Across the stars, thousands of dormant nests blinked out. The war was over. Back on Earth, years later, a small memorial stood in the forest of silence. It bore no names. Just a phrase. We remembered so they could forget. We fought so they wouldn't return. Commander Rika Ansel sat on a bench, watching a small girl play in the sunlight. She wasn't Mira. But she was free. And that was enough.